Restaurant Unstoppable. What the most successful restaurateurs know that you don't.
So when I started, I guess like my first and only real job was at New York Sports Club. And I just hated the way they treated me. Like
How did they treat you?
like a fucking piece of meat, dude. Like it was but I was 19. I was never cut out for the corporate world. Like corporate America was just never meant for me. I became a personal trainer because I wanted to help people. That's all. That's all I wanted to do was help people. And I just didn't feel right that I had to charge the client $100 an hour and like I made 22. I felt like, damn, you know, this is like a disproportionate rip. The client is getting murdered. I shouldn't be charging anybody $100 an hour to train them. I mean, I didn't think look, I don't want to take away from personal trainers who are legitimately qualified to charge that amount.
Yeah.
There are people that deserve that money, but I was 19 years old. I had taken their corporate training class. I didn't feel like I deserved that. I didn't feel like the transaction was like holy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like morally wrong. And when I started cooking these meals, and I knew like I'm going to the store, I'm buying this meat, I'm buying all this stuff. This is stuff I would feed my mother and my grandmother, and I'm making an honest living. And it was like the honest living that like, I was like, wow, like, man, I could do this. I could feel good about it. I can go to bed at night knowing that I'm legitimately going to bat for people every single day, and I'm taking a couple fucking percent. Like, I'm not making much. Like, I don't think anybody, when people know how much money I make, like, it's a lot. I do make a very good living right now, but my company is fucking enormous.
But how long?
It's a sliver. Oh my God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how much do you sacrifice?
Oh fuck, man.
It's like people are gonna be like, oh, this, you know, like bro, eat clean thing, like just came out of nowhere, an overnight success. But what about you were 19 years old when you first made an attempt at getting after this, right? You're 34 now,
Yeah.
15 years, and before that, I mean, you said it was 2013, right?
And to get more like, the 15-year thing is not meant to discourage anybody. Like, one of the things that I learned from my dad, my dad's like a super direct guy. My dad calls it how he sees it. And like over the years, I could see how that could get people in trouble being that way. There are like people I know, people I'm friends with, people in my family where, you know, you start having these conversations as like a man having a conversation with another man, like a young man, say like a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old. You know, I'm 34. I have a couple years on the guy. Mm-hmm. They get like overwhelmingly discouraged. Like, fuck, 15 years. Well, listen, man, unless you fucking die, 15 years is going to pass regardless.
Real fast.
Like, unless you die. So if you don't die, 15 years is coming whether you want it to or not. And you got to just embrace it. And that is the part like that. Had I just been able to embrace it a little bit, I was trying to fucking hit home runs before I could run, you know? Right. I was trying to hit home runs before I could crawl. And I think that's why I failed a lot. And it wasn't until I really realized like, man, this is going to fucking suck.
When did you start to realize that?
In 2000, like January, I started to realize that like the fucking party was over. I'll never forget, man. So there's a community college here in Jersey called Brookdale, and
what's the year?
I think it was 2000. I had just turned. I was like 25 and a half, I think.
Okay.
It was
so 10 years ago, or 9 years ago.
Yeah, and I never forget like
2009.
It was kind of like when around 25 was like, holy fuck, dude, I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a game. Ironically, like I went after it one more time and I failed. And then that was the point where I said, I'm not a kid anymore. And I gave up because I was like, dude, I don't have the tools I need. And I went looking for a real job. I got rejected by a bunch of places.
What were the tools you think you needed?
So here's the thing, man. And it's funny you say that, but like in reality, there's a couple tools you need. So like the fundamental tool, obviously. So there are tools, right? There's tools, there's principles, you need to believe you could do it.
You saying you didn't believe at this point?
I had my doubts, man. I'd failed so many fucking times, you know, like.
Well, give me an example. You said you were taking big swings. You were swinging for the fences, right? Like what give me
like
paint
a
the picture of what that was
stupid fucking thing I did when I was a kid was somebody like I had a rich friend when I was a club promoter. He used to go out and buy bottles all the time. He saw me like cooking these meals and he was like, man, I want to invest. So I was like, holy shit, like this rich dude just approached me. He wants to invest. He must be real. He must be serious. So I'm like, all right, man. I dropped out of college. I was at Montclair State University. I dropped out. I went looking for started looking to sign this lease for a kitchen, like almost got myself into deep shit. And then like the dude just like ghosted me. And then I finally got him on the phone.
Meaning almost gone to deep shit, meaning you almost signed? Like you almost committed to
Yeah, I
something?
almost like committed to like owning my own, like when I had no business doing that, man.
Yeah.
This is what I should have fucking did.
This is before the time.
This was like 2000.
So you said when you were 25, you took one final go at it, and you failed again. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about before that.
Before that.
I do want to get into that.
It's hard to, dude. You know what, man? It's like hard for me to remember all this shit because
it's a blur. I'm sure
it is a blur, and it was so painful for me, dude. Like I didn't want to. I'll never forget, dude. The best day of my life, aside from like obviously my kids being born and my wedding, was when I realized like, wow, you know, all my failures and everything I went through got me to this point. And at that point, when I made peace with all my failures, I wasn't humiliated by it anymore. And then I didn't feel like I was actually a failure anymore. Like I spent so much of my life depressed, feeling like I was a fucking failure, that like I'm like cool now. I'm like, dude, you know what? Like that was what I had to go through to get here. That's what prepared me to be here. And that's why I am who I am, because of all those experiences I had leading up to this point. Like there's it was a big learning experience.